Am I right in saying that you don't like it when people invade your personal space?
Space invader.
Yes! Well, when it comes to your home, you could turn a blind eye because ignorance is bliss until somebody nicks your stuff or hotwires your car. Do criminals still hotwire things? It's all done wirelessly these days, right? Well, listen, either way, I worked in the security alarm business for half a decade and I helped so many people secure their homes. And I know from experience that when it comes to hitting the fan, there are really two types of people, the prepared and the unprepared. And if you want to stay ready so you don't have to get ready, the eufy SoloCam S340 and S220 might be two of the very best modern day solutions that I've seen to date. And if you're looking for an easy to install high quality wireless setup, two massive advantages here are that they are both solar powered and the S340 does have AI tracking. And this video is sponsored by eufy, so instead of a review, I think you'll find this approach much more valuable. Here are the answers to 15 of the most frequently asked questions about the eufy SoloCam S340 and 220. And if you stick around, I have partnered up with eufy to do a giveaway, and I'll explain the rules of that in a bit. But first, question 1. Are they easy to install? Yes, it's straightforward. It is wireless. It requires you to drill 3 holes for the bracket on the S340 and just 2 holes for the bracket on the S220, and the S340, the bigger one, simply clicks on, whereas the S220 screws on to the bracket. Now, what's great about the design on both of these cameras is that they both can be mounted against a wall or directly to a post or even underneath an eaves or to a ceiling. Now, where it could get a little bit trickier with the S340 is the positioning of the solar panel. It can be mounted on the camera, which is ideal if the camera is going to be in a spot where it gets some natural light. But if it is going to be in a darker spot, let's say inside a garage or inside a shed, you can actually use the provided 10-meter USB-C extension cable to place the solar panel somewhere brighter. Now, with that said, due to the panel size, it can actually gather enough solar energy with just 2 hours of sunlight to run continuously forever. And with the S220 having a smaller built-in solar panel, it requires 3 hours of daylight to run continuously, which is fine because that's about as much sunlight as we get here in the UK on a nice day. Number 2, how long does it record for? Now, there are a few settings and options that can affect this. Being a SoloCam, the cameras both have their own onboard memory of 8GB, which will be automatically overwritten once full. And within the app, you can set it to a maximum of 2-minute clip recordings with 5-second cool-off intervals. Depending on how active the area is in front of the cameras will affect how many days or weeks that 8GB memory will last. However, in terms of recording times, with 8 gigs of storage, you can get up to around 10.6 hours of footage on the S340 in dual camera mode. And of course, you'll get a bit more than that with the S220 because it's just a single camera, not 2. Can you record 24/7? Unfortunately not. Due to the nature of wireless cameras, they don't work like that, as you can't run continuous power on these particular cameras from a power outlet. These cameras focus more on being power efficient and only triggering recordings when there's actually something happening, so you don't end up with hours and hours of footage of nothing. Can you add more storage? Yes, you can, and there are a couple ways that you can do it. One of the ways actually adds more AI features to these cameras and unlocks the potential of having up to 16 eufy cameras on one system. And I'll come back to that AI stuff in a little bit. So the first way you can extend the storage is with the eufy Homebase 3, which can house an SSD of up to 16 terabytes. The SSD is replaceable too. I've got a 10 terabyte drive in mine, and I've been running 2 eufy cameras and the eufy dual camera doorbell for around 1.5 years now. And at this point in time, it's only used 1 terabyte of that 10. So that's pretty impressive. The other option you have is you can pay for cloud storage if you prefer an off-site backup. How long will the batteries last with no sun? Now, if you're installing either one of these in a very dark space with no sun at all, for example, inside a garage or a warehouse, the S340 can run up to 3 months on its battery power alone. It's got a decently sized 10,000 milliamp hour battery, and the S220 has a 6,500 milliamp hour battery that can also run for for 3 months. But remember, as I said before, with just a few hours of direct sunlight, even if you live in rainy and cloudy England, it is enough for these cameras to run forever. And actually, when I fitted the S340 to the front of my house, which is a north facing side of the house where there's actually a tree that blocks the direct sunlight. It had 75% battery when I fitted it, and now 1 month later it's on 100% and it's triggering all of the time. And something else that's great about the solar charging is that it's actually quite a bit slower than direct power, and because of this the battery degradation will be minimal in comparison to charging it via a wire. Can you buy a longer extension cable for the S340 solar panel? Technically yes, however there is one thing to consider. The cables provided by eufy do have a rubber gasket that seals them so that water cannot get to the contact points. So you definitely need to be mindful of that if you're going to go with a third-party extension cable. Is the app any good? The simple answer is yes. To me, it's perfect. I've been using this for quite a long time now, and once it's set up, you really don't need to do much other than browse the recordings and manually view the cameras when you want to. You can set trigger zones and privacy zones, as well as adjust various features. And with the S340 SoloCam having dual cameras, you get even more options like the ability to preset areas and adjust the zoom ranges so that you can quickly snap to those locations with minimum effort. And you can also dual record the wide and the telephoto cameras simultaneously if you want to, and adjust the pan and tilt speeds. Also, you can choose whether to use the spotlight at night for low light color recordings or just use the black and white night vision. And the S220 doesn't have a spotlight, but the night vision is honestly so good, I don't think you'll need it. And what I love about the app is it's completely free to use, and you get push notifications with little thumbnails whenever motion is detected. So this, in my opinion, is an invaluable feature when it comes to identifying a possible threat on your property. How good is the camera quality? Now, this is an excellent question, and there are two answers when it comes to the S340 because there are two cameras. The primary uses an f1.6 aperture with a 135-degree wide-angle lens, and that aperture gives you a really nice bright image at 3K resolution, so you can punch in and still have very crisp details. The telephoto 3x lens allows for spotting people and cars at longer distances. This one also uses an f1.6 aperture, so it's nice and bright as well, and you can digitally zoom to 8x with a 2K resolution. The S220 is more of a classic style camera and has a slightly lower resolution of 2K, but it has that f1.6 aperture, so it's nice and bright, and you also get that 135 degrees field of view. And the reality is most phones these days are probably 2K at best, so it should be good enough quality for most people. So here's a follow-up question, are they actually good at night? Now this does vary on the S340 as it does have two different options. When it comes to reading license plates at night, the spotlight can help illuminate those things and those details. And it can also act as a good deterrent if a burglar is creeping around. Now, if you're going with the black and white night vision, it's still very good quality. And the S220 is also very good. So here's a little example. Here's how an A4 piece of paper with some essential instructions look at night. Is there an audible motor noise with the S340 because it is a rotating camera? So the answer to this is no. You won't notice any in your recordings, and you have to get very, very close to it to actually hear it in person. So yeah, you don't need to worry about that at all. It's got a very discreet motor. Is two-way audio supported? Yes, both have built-in speakers and mics, and they're pretty decent quality too. Check this out. This is how the microphone sounds on the S220. This is how the microphone sounds on the S340 at around about 3 meters distance. And this is how the built-in speakers sound at around 2.5 meters. So this does mean you can set the cameras up to sound an alarm if needed, and the volume of that alarm will be around 90 decibels. Do the eufy SoloCams support smart home integration? They do support Google Home and also Alexa, and I've actually hooked up mine to my Echo Show, so I can see any of my eufy cameras whenever I want just by using my voice. And you can also do this with Google products too. So what are those AI features that I mentioned earlier in the video? So the SoloCam S340 and S220 do have their own AI built in and can detect humans and vehicles standalone. However, if you do decide to connect it to a Homebase 3 with the SSD backup, this unlocks the ability to recognize familiar faces so that when people approach your property, the notifications on your phone will actually show the name of the person if you've added them to the AI section within the app. Number 14, what about privacy? So one big concern people face when buying cameras is who can see the footage. And the great news here is that if you're staying in-house with your backups using the SSD or just the built-in storage, everything is stored locally and encrypted end-to-end between the storage connected to your home network and your mobile device. With the cloud storage, it's also very secure, and it's best you read eufy's T's and C's carefully if you want to go down that road. I'll link the official product page if you do decide you want to read up on that. Is there a subscription fee? No, it's not necessary. Eufy doesn't actually force you to subscribe to a monthly or annual fee, which is one of the main reasons I love their product so much, and one of the big reasons I recommend them to people who ask me about security cameras. Now, the cloud storage does have an ongoing cost if you do want to use it, but it is reasonably priced compared to what I see a lot of other security companies charging. Now the giveaway, Eufy will be sending one lucky UK viewer both of the cameras for free. And all you need to do to enter this competition is like, subscribe, and leave a comment with your favorite features on these cameras. And do me a favor, add a little flame emoji in front of your comment so I can easily find it. And once the winner is selected, I will reply to the comment, and then you'll have 48 hours to contact me back to claim your prize. And if you don't reply in time, a new winner will be selected. So do keep an eye on the comment section, keep an eye on the prize. And don't be that person who realizes a month later that they won, but then missed out because they didn't reply. The entries close on the 26th of July, so don't waste any time, enter now. Now, if you guys want to check out the full range of Eufy cameras, as well as the ones seen in this video, I've attached all the links that you need in the description. So I hope you guys have found this video helpful. If you did, please let me know. And if you have any questions for me, which I didn't answer, let me know those in the comments as well. And I'll do my best to answer those. Appreciate you guys. I will see you in the next one. Don't be late.